Hey Bistro fans, Jill here. So I am here because of course January is our month to be RAWsome, and we are doing everything raw in our store. So as you can see behind me, we carry lots of brands of raw. What you don't see, I'm going to turn the camera here real quick. We also have 2 freezers over here that have all of our cat raw food. And of course, because Lewis and I don't think we have enough raw, we are going to add some more freezers first quarter. So stay tuned. If you're just now joining me, say hello. It looks like Beverly's watching. Hey, Beverly. So I have quite a few staff members here at the store tonight, and we all have different levels of experience with raw. So I thought it would be really fun to have each of them tell us their story to you about how they got started in raw, what kind of animals they have at home, what they're currently feeding, maybe some of the changes that they've seen. So I actually learned about raw feeding way back when. So in end of 1998, beginning in 1999 is when our childhood Yorkie Max was diagnosed with cancer. And that's when our family learned about raw feeding. So way back when, yes, almost or over 20 years ago, I learned about raw feeding. And when I got my first dog, Sasha, who is my husky, I got her on my own in 2003. I also had health issues with her, and I kind of fell back to what I knew. So I was feeding high-grade kibble at the time, a high-quality grain-free kibble, and I was still having digestive issues with her. And at that point, 3 weeks in, like looking back at it now, I would say she would have probably clinically been diagnosed with either IBD or colitis. I got rid of the kibble. I put her onto a raw diet because that's what I knew. 3 weeks of diarrhea, lethargy, dehydration, vomiting, you name it. Put her onto a raw diet, and 36 hours later, I had my husky back. Her personality was back. Her energy was back. Her being happy, all of those things came back really, really quickly, and she was ecstatic to eat. She wanted to eat every meal. So I really dove into considering feeding all of my pets raw. We did Greyhound Rescue for a while. That's how we got started with Almost Pride, just because we were looking for a bulk option to feed many dogs. And feed them a quality food without obviously breaking the bank, but still being able to pay my bills and feed a high quality food that I wanted to feed. And then from there, all of our dogs have now passed. I specifically went searching for a Bengal cat breeder who also fed raw, because I wanted a cat or a kitten who I knew was getting quality nutrition right from the get-go. So I found Lake Leopards Bengals. They are out of Ohio, and Michelle, who breeds Bengals, actually her and I became really fast friends. We bonded over homeopathy and herbs and raw feeding, and all of those fantastic things that we suggest and promote here at the Pet Beastro. And so all of my cats currently eat raw. On occasion, Kanga will get into dry food and things like that here at the store that have maybe been open, which, you know, when you have a pregnant cat and they're not eating, you go to all ends to make sure that they eat. So she's had some of those, what we call kind of junk food at times, like she'll get into different things. We don't see differences in stool or issues with digestive upset, but she still eats raw at home. If we have raw here thawed, or if we have a damaged product that comes in that we can thaw and salvage for her, we will also feed her some of those items here at the store. So I truly believe in raw. I think raw is a 5-star food, especially when you're feeding a high quality product where people and companies are paying attention to sourcing and where it's coming from and quality of ingredients. I think that is very important as well. So all of those things come together to make a complete and balanced raw food for your cat and dog. All right, so Delilah is going to come on over, and she is going to tell us a little bit about her raw feeding story and how she got started into raw. So come on over. I'm going to ask you a couple questions and give you the microphone so everyone can hear you. All right, so Delilah here has been on a staff member here for how long now?
May.
Okay, so 9 months.
Sure.
Almost
Ish.
8-9
Yeah.
months. And prior to that, Dalila was also a customer. So
yes, I was.
Dalila knew about raw feeding and would come in and ask very educated questions. And working with her, we've now done some consultations to figure out both of the dogs and what they need.
What they need to get, yep.
Yes. So tell us about your pets at home first.
Okay. So I have 2 dogs. I have I previously to becoming a customer here, of course, was not educated at all, and lost sound.
Is that better? Maybe mic issues, maybe. Hold on. Beverly, is that better? Beverly, let me know. Can you hear us?
Testing.
Sound is back.
Okay,
Yay.
perfect.
Perfect.
Okay, so I, of course, was not very educated and was feeding, your, way back when I was feeding Purina and all that gunk, and tried to do what I could to make better educated choices as far as food. And then when I discovered the store, when I moved to this side of town, I decided to start doing more research and looking into what I could do to feed both of my dogs a better quality diet. So I started raw about a year ago, kind of just as like a snack with the kibble that I was feeding. I think I was feeding from. And so I was just adding in raw, I think like a patty here or there every day. And then I slowly upped it. And then probably, I want to say about the summertime is when I moved Lady to a complete raw diet, just because she's smaller and that's what I could afford with my budget. And then Luna, I do half kibble, half raw, so I still give her our Nature's Logic kibble. And then I give her a variety of some of the different raw brands that we sell here at the store. I rotate between small batch, which is right behind us right here in the freezer. I do Steve's Real Food, Northwest Naturals, and Primal. So I kind of mix it up between those 4 brands are kind of like my go-tos, just depending on the protein that I'm looking to switch it up with. I do like to switch it up with a variety of proteins when I can. Lady, my little one, can have more of a variety than Luna can right now.
We're working on that.
Yeah, we're working on it. So it just depends on, what they've had. At home, I've been like today they got lamb. Yesterday they got beef and bison. Tomorrow they'll probably get lamb just so I can finish out the lamb I have in the fridge. Then I'll probably move over to whitefish and salmon just to kind of mix it up and keep it fresh so they don't get bored. So yeah, that's kind of how I started my raw journey with them.
What are some of the things that you've noticed changes?
Lady's stool poop is not as stinky. It's little to no smell. And even her vitality has always been pretty good for her being, now getting into being a senior dog. But even in just the last, 8 to 12 months, her skin is in an awesome condition. Her coat is in awesome condition. She still has a lot of energy. Like you wouldn't think that she's going on 10 years old now.
That's awesome.
And then with Luna, because she has some health issues going on that we're dealing with, hers is slowly but surely getting better. Skin has improved, coat has improved, along with some of the other supplements that we've had her on. But honestly, like if she wasn't eating some sort of raw, I don't think I would see as much improvement as we've seen. Same thing with her. Stools aren't as stinky as hers are, in between, because she still has some kibble. But like I said, that is one change that, they say is it's a drastic change in the smell for sure.
Good. So Amy actually asked if you could just go over the types of dogs that you have. Apparently she missed that when we had some mic issues there.
Yes. So Lady is my Westie Maltese, and then Luna is my Great Pyrenees.
Perfect. Anything else you think that customers need to know about transitioning or trying raw?
I I think just from personal experience, like when I tried it, when I first started giving it to them, I definitely, there is always, you because like I said, you don't want to get the digestive system.
What is going on?
Technical difficulties.
Let me know.
Testing. 1, 2, 3.
Good old fun. So let me know if the mic's working, as everyone can hear me. That's always, fun technical stuff in the evening. So Dalila was talking about stools. There we go. Beverly says it's better. Yay, I made some changes. We'll see if we're good. So she was just talking about adding food in slowly, mixing it in. Sometimes we get soft stools, just there's a little bit of detox, or their gut isn't prepared to handle the digestion of raw because it is something new and they maybe haven't had it before.
Yep.
So if anybody has any questions, make sure you put it in the comments below and we'll make sure we get those questions answered. We're going to interview a couple other staff members as well who have also used raw or switched over to raw with their pets since starting to work here. All right, Jenna, are you ready? Are you next? All right. Dalila's off, and now we have Jenna.
Hi.
I'm just gonna
put it on for me.
Yep, hook this on here for you. So Jenna is a newer employee here at the Pet Bistro. So she's been here since
a month.
2 months.
2 months.
Two months.
Okay.
Almost.
November. Late November.
Yeah, 5-6 weeks.
Okay.
So, have you fed any raw prior to working at the Pet Beastro?
No, actually, funny story. I didn't even know about this store before I came here. I was a little savvy on what to feed animals and what not for a while. I was doing Rachael Ray, thinking that was the best I could get, but then I realized grocery store food is not what you should be shopping for. So when I started coming here and I started working here and I learned everything there was to know about what to feed your animals, I started dabbling in raw, and I got really lucky because my cats and my dog are not picky. So
Yay.
they did not even, they did not mind the transition. In fact, they were thrilled. So the brands I've tried so far that seem to be a good hit are small batch. My cats loved the small batch chicken sliders. I try to keep the chicken here and there and switch up the proteins so they don't get allergic. Just bought the beef and salmon primal. Haven't broken into that one yet, but it's a hit with her cat, so I'm sure it will be with mine.
Yep.
And for my dog, she gets, right now I just stocked up on Vital Essentials, so that's the one she's using right now, the duck. And that's my way of incorporating a little extra fat in her diet as well, but she loves those.
So hold on, let's back up real quick. What do you have at home? So you have one dog.
We have one dog and 2 cats.
Okay, what kind of dog?
She's a pit bull mix.
And how big is she?
She's 65 pounds.
Okay.
Yep.
So she can handle like raw meaty bones and recreational bones.
Yes.
Okay, and I know you've also taken
Goat's
Answer's
milk.
home.
Yep.
And is that a fan favorite with both cats and dogs? Or
Oh
just
yes.
the dog? Okay.
They love it. Yep.
So have you noticed any immediate changes just from adding?
It was actually quite immediate. I want to say within the first couple to few days of transitioning into raw and the goat's milk, which I did right away. My one cat who I went to Jill about with issues, she was like having like spasms and she has like back problems. She has pinched nerves. I incorporated the goat's milk. I also started her on CBD and then the raw diet. And within literally a week, she is back to playing with all of her toys. She jumps on my bed. She meows for food. Yes, she's my cat again, and it's crazy.
That's awesome.
She's only 7, so I'm like, she's like a kitten again. My dog's been fantastic. I feel like I've already noticed her teeth starting to get cleaner.
Sure.
And she's got a lot more like zip now, and she gets really excited about dinner time. Like she used to just be like, okay, yeah, food, yay. But now she's like, oh my gosh, the best thing ever is in my bowl. So
that's awesome.
Yes.
Did you have any complications or issues with the changeover?
No,
I
and
know
I
you said
actually
everyone
kind of
took
went
to it.
against the rules. I didn't transition and like slowly put it in. I just kind of finished up with my food that I was using, and then I was like, okay, we're gonna go on raw, and my animals were like, okay.
Well, and there are two ways to transition. So
Yeah.
I actually am a person that does more cold turkey transition.
Yeah.
I am finding that it's harder to do that with some animals, where like Delilah's pets seem to take that transition.
Right.
It's
Just depends on the animals,
it's
right?
completely depends on the animal and how they take that transition.
Right.
Have you noticed any difference in like fur and coat?
Oh
and-
yes. Oh my gosh. So I have a long-haired cat, and he's always fluffy, but he's never been like. All my cats and dogs have allergy issues, so that's another reason why I incorporated goat's milk. And my dog no longer has red spots. My cat's fluffy coat is like so full and nice now, and my short-haired cat is actually quite plush as well. So, and I've also been adding the ultra oil in with everything for their allergies as well, and that seems to be
Awesome. So would you have any words of wisdom for anyone who's maybe considering adding raw or trying raw?
do it. There are so many kinds of personalities out there in the animal world. They might not take to it right away, but my one note is don't give up. I would maybe just start with like raw treats, dehydrated, the freeze-dried. If they don't want to go right to the frozen, that's a good way to just kind of start incorporating it. The goat's milk, even if you're not going to go straight to the raw meat, the goat's milk helps with so much, and they usually will not turn away from that. And if anything, if they're not eating, that's a great way to get them to eat it.
Good.
So.
Good. All right, perfect.
Thank
I'm going to
you.
take the mic back from you, and if you want to go grab Nikki for me, we'll do a quick interview with Nikki. I'm just going to answer a couple questions here. So Amy had asked about switching up so much. So typically when we're switching up with raw food, it's not usually a problem because you're not dealing with synthetic vitamins and minerals that are in a dry food formula, or sometimes it's just the drastic protein switch from a dry food. That can also cause the stomach upset, or sometimes it has to do with brands. Some animals are more sensitive if there's food sensitivities or food allergies. Sometimes those things do need to be monitored, but it's not always the case. It really is individually independent of the pet and how they can tolerate it. Sometimes if you add goat's milk or kefir or digestive enzymes, you can actually make those transitions a little bit easier and a little bit faster. Ashley Mraz says raw doesn't have the additives that kibble does, so you can switch between brands. So yep, kind of reiterated what I just said. Beverly mentioned that her dog's coat, so she had just rescued a dog here a couple months back before the holidays. A lab mix pup that, a lot of times we see these with our shelter dogs or rescue dogs. They have a black coat, but it looks dull or it looks brown, or you can just tell it isn't very healthy. So once you put them on the correct food and proper nutrition and a better quality nutrition, you start to see the coat change. It becomes shiny. It's not dull anymore. It's not brittle looking. So all of those kind of small nuances start to change over time. And sometimes faster than other dogs. It just depends on where their state of health is at the time that you get them as a rescue. So Beverly also says her dog's favorites are the knuckle bones. Recreational bones are fantastic for dental health, so those are always great to have on hand. So, all right, so Nikki's going to join us. And Nikki, come on over. I'm just going to get the microphone on here so everyone can hear you speak. So Nikki has been with us. Also, you came in with Delilah, right?
Yeah, in May.
Okay, so Delilah and Nikki came here and joined the staff together in May. And you have, how old is Bean now?
He turned a year old in September, so he's still a little baby.
Okay, so tell us about Bean. Bean is her dog.
He is a black miniature dachshund. He's very picky, but he loves his raw. We've been feeding him raw since like the very beginning when I started in May. And he took to it right away. I thought because he's so picky, he wasn't going to like it. But like I remember the first day I tried to give him some of that primal frozen duck, like the little nibs. He was like all over it. So I was like, okay, this is great.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
and
loves.
He's your only pet at home?
Yes, right now, yeah.
So he's the only pet at home.
Yeah,
Perfect.
we've had like dogs our whole lives, but he's the newest one that we have. He loves primal, anything primal. He loves the frozen, the niblets and the nuggets. He loves his freeze dried right now because I think because it's the winter, he's very cold all the time, so he doesn't want to eat the frozen raw. So he's been eating
Sure.
his little freeze dried nuggets. And I noticed that even though his coat's always been shiny, like it's extra shiny now. We said he looks like a little oil spill because he
He's
looks
super shiny.
He is like he looks like he's like an oil slick, and he loves it. He loves to put it like in his little puzzle feeder. He likes to take it out of there just to like engage, get his mind active and get some activity in there. His breath has been great. His teeth are nice and shiny.
So I think up front, one of the issues you guys were kind of having with him is he wasn't eating consistently either, correct? So,
because he was really losing interest in the kibble that we got when we got him, and he would go like days without eating, and we're like, you got to eat. We were getting really scared. So, because we would put the kibble out, he wouldn't touch it. I'd even try to hand feed him, and he had no interest at all. So it's nice to see him enjoy his food now.
Yeah. So, and that's unfortunately common in little dogs, is they can be picky, or you have to have like 2 or 3 flavors to alternate with them to keep their interest. So it wasn't, when you told me what was going on, it wasn't too surprising to me with him being so small and then him being picky. Usually they need to eat a couple more times a day. So does he eat more than twice a day?
Yeah, he usually eats 2 to 3 times a day, and then we alternate proteins. Like some days he'll have lamb, then he'll have beef, he'll have chicken. So he always likes to change the flavor up.
Gotcha. So yeah, there are with small breed dogs, a lot of times you do have to do some variety with them and get them interested. But perfect. So you have used Primal.
Yes.
And is there any other brands of raw you've used?
We've used Steve's and Northwest Naturals, and he likes all of them.
Okay, so Primal, Steve's, and Northwest Naturals. Have you ever done goat's milk or any of the like raw treats or frozen yogurt?
He likes the Answers raw goat's milk. Like I could either give it to him in a saucer, sometimes I mix it in his food. He likes when we put bone broth in his food, or I take ice cube trays, put the bone broth in there, give him a little frozen treat that way.
Cool. So there's lots of different things like Nikki was mentioning with the bone broth and things like that you can do. Anything else that you think our customers should know about feeding raw and how your transition went with bean?
I think I would say like just be patient, because if they don't like it right away, it's not surprising, because you're just going to have to try little by little and add it in there slowly, and I'm sure they'll love it eventually because they're not used to it. So especially with picky dogs, you have to like really keep trying and keep having patience with them.
Yeah, and cats.
Yeah.
Cats, you have to be patient. All right, perfect. Anything else you need to add?
Like Dalila was saying, the stools, I noticed a change right away. His stools were a lot smaller. They didn't smell. They were darker and just easier to pick up and clean up. Like sometimes they literally just like blow away, like in the wind. Like they just crumple up. And you don't even have to like pick it up. So.
Yes. So that's a big one. Stool's a big one.
Yeah.
So, perfect. I appreciate all your feedback. Great. And it's snag this. If you can grab Nathan for me. Nathan's going to come over here and also tell us a little bit. So Nathan is also newer on our team. And he has some experience with raw as well. He does a lot of the freeze-dried treats. So come on over here. I'm just going to put the mic on you.
All right.
So everyone can hear you. Hold on, I just stepped on it. So if it's working, looks like our feed's been in and out. So Nathan, when did you start here at the Pet Beastro?
I think I started late August.
Okay. And then if you can tell us the pets you have at home.
I have one cat. I don't know cat breeds that well,
That's
but then
okay.
I have a younger dog. He's a Collie and Shepherd mix, and then my oldest is a Labrador and Spaniel mix.
Okay, so 2 larger breed dogs at home and a kitten, cat, a regular size adult cat, right?
Yeah, she's a little bit on the large side.
Okay. And what have you taken home? I know you've done some freeze-dried and with Northwest Naturals, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Primarily, it's been Northwest.
Okay. And what do your dogs and cats think about that?
For the cat specifically, I've been doing a lot of work because she's just not in the best health condition right now. Ever since she got fixed, she put on a lot of weight, and it's been really hard to get that off of her.
Okay.
So then her daily habit has mostly just kind of been taking a nap and just sort of laying about.
Sure.
So I noticed that her mood started to improve a lot after I started directly feeding her some raw treats.
Perfect.
And adding a bit more of that to her diet. Now she's actually up and moving around a little bit more. She's moving into areas where she just lost interest before. She is more aggressive when she wants attention, like she'll ram her head into your hand and demand that you give her attention. I noticed that her fur was starting to improve after I switched her kibble and started feeding more of that freeze-dried.
Good.
And that happened only over the course of a week. And her fur was in very poor condition, so I was able to, go off of that and then start combing out the rest of the bad fur. So she's still improving right now, but I'm happy that it's taken effect as quickly as it did.
Awesome.
It's about small improvements here and there, so I'm proud that I was able to do a little bit.
Good. Any information about your dogs and them liking the freeze-dried as well, the Northwest Naturals?
Wilson likes to make everything a bit of a game, so when I first brought home a bunch of those treats, he would pick it up, he'd put it back down, and then he would do this a couple of times before he would actually decide whether he wanted to eat it or not. But now it's just more straight to the punch. When he sees me open up the bag, he knows exactly what he's in for. And even if it's something a little bit new, like I took home some of the air-dried Zooey Peak, he could smell the lamb. He knew what it was. He sat down immediately, and he really likes it too.
Good.
So they're both taking really well to it. He had what I think was a chicken allergy, but I switched his main protein, and he's doing a lot better now. He's still licking his paw, but he's doing more focus all along his leg instead of just focusing on that paw for 15 minutes.
Okay.
So I think that I was able to fix that problem at least a little bit.
Good. Anything else you can tell our customers or you think they need to know?
If you're thinking about switching foods, I wouldn't have a lot of disillusions about it. I wouldn't try and make a huge shift immediately. If you want to start small, that's absolutely fine. It's about little improvements here and there as long as you can just make your way up. Like, the whole shift to a better diet doesn't have to be a huge expensive leap. We can work with you. It can be really budget friendly. We can be really open about it.
Good. Perfect. Thanks for the feedback. I'm just going to snag this from you. All right. Thank you, Nathan. So as you can see, everyone here at the Pet Bistro has different experiences, different animals. Everyone has, I'm actually going to move over, guys, and see if this changes what we have going on. So we all have different experiences. We all have different animals. We all have a different starting point. We all have different ways of going about it. You can add, we always say some raw is better than no raw. So even if you add 10% raw, if you do a mix-in, if you do bone broth, if you do goat's milk, if you do an elixir, you can add that along with your kibble, get the moisture into the diet. Moisture is a huge thing for our cats and dogs. They're most often missing that and they become dehydrated. Sometimes we have to make a drastic and dramatic food change quickly, and that quick change is based on a diagnosis or a disease or something that has happened immediate and acute that needs like a quick change. Where if you don't have health problems, you can take a slower gradual change over to something new. So it really depends on like where your pet is at and what is happening currently with your dog or cat in order to make that transition happen. So there's lots of different spaces and places. There's always a place to start with a raw food. We have lots of crazy specials happening this month. We have discounted items. We have free elixirs with a large bag purchase of large bag of dry food. We have free raw meaty bones, so necks, duck necks, chicken necks, turkey necks, if you're interested in trying something out. We have samples of Primal. We have 20% off some freeze-dried options. So we have lots of different freeze-dried. So if you're scared to go straight into raw or you don't know what to do with it, we have freeze-dried options that you can either mix in or you can use it as treats. You can try different avenues to get some freeze-dried in there and get your pet used to it, and then maybe make the switch over to the full raw frozen food that has all the moisture in it. So freeze-dried is basically just the moisture, the product minus the moisture. So I believe it was Kara that just asked, how do you feel about dehydrated raw? Well, if you have the option to feed raw, I prefer raw. Just because raw is the superior 5-star food. It has everything in it. It already has the moisture there. It hasn't gone through an extra process. So if you have the option to feed full raw, I prefer full raw over freeze-dried, dehydrated, raw. That's kind of a marketing term. It's not raw. It has undergone some sort of processing. It's just very limited. So we're not dealing with nutrition being degraded and things of that nature as much as like a kibble food would be. So again, we get it. Everyone has a time and space. There might be a budget constraint. There might be just household, depending on how busy your household is, or maybe you're not able to feed full raw. So that's why we say if we can add in 10% raw, that's exciting to us. We're glad you're even taking that step forward to add maybe something on top of the kibble. We say to elevate your bowl. You could do simple things at home even. You could add some canned mackerel to the food. You could add a cracked raw egg over the food once a week. You could add, if you make bone broth at home, you can make a homemade bone broth minus onions. You could use that. So you can add fresh fruits and veggies. You can add things at home too, just to freshen up the bowl, elevate what you're already feeding your animals, and actually get real live food and nutrition into your dog's bowl. Cats aren't really going to go for the fruits and veggies, but they will go for fish, they will go for eggs, they will go for organ meat, they will go for the raw goat's milk. Like, those are things cats would totally appreciate added into their bowl. So there's lots of different things that you can do to elevate what you're already doing at home. So I hope tonight's video was helpful. I'm sorry about the mic issues. Hopefully we got those all figured out, but everyone here has a different starting spot. Just like you guys, we all have a different starting spot when it comes through with feeding your pet, or how to start feeding your pet raw, or what to do. Like I said, I'm a longtime feeder of raw. I am a raw food believer through and through. I've seen raw help so many different cases of disease and longevity and diagnosis and health improvements, and like all of these things that I feel like I would be doing a disservice if I didn't tell you about raw, and tell you about all the brands of raw that we carry, and tell you about how fabulous they all are, and why we carry every brand here at the store. So if anybody has questions, we are here all weekend. I know there is supposed to be maybe a threat of snow or ice or whatever it is, but we are here all weekend. We have other staff members that weren't interviewed tonight that also feed raw, that would be able to help you if you stopped in the store and they're working. We have some new team members coming on board too that are new. Again, they're going to be where you are. They've never heard about raw, or it's new to them. So we have some new team members. So maybe at the end of the month we will interview them and see if they've taken anything home and tried it. But if you guys have any questions, please put it in the comments below. We'll have some more videos throughout January. And like I said, we have specials and promotions happening on Primal, Vital Essentials, Steve's Real Food, Northwest Naturals, Nature's Logic, Green Juju. That's another great one to integrate in. So we have lots of different promotions happening on many of the different brands if you're interested in trying. And like I said, we do have some samples. And then, of course, just real quick, we've January 22nd, Michelle from Primal will be here from 4 to 7 p.m. in the afternoon and the evening. So if you have questions about Primal, or you're just now diving into Primal, you can come in. We will, her and I can both answer questions for you about raw and raw brands, and maybe where to start. So it looks like we have one quick question from Beverly about shipping raw. Unfortunately, we cannot ship raw. At least not, it's just kind of difficult. It really is what it comes down to. If for some reason the package gets lost, or it gets stuck at a warehouse, FedEx warehouse overnight, or over a weekend, then it comes to you thawed and raw, now room temperature. That's a problem. However, if you are local, we do now have local delivery. So if you cannot make it over here and you are interested in raw, or it's hard for you to get here during the week, or whatever it is, you ran out of food and you don't have any food for evening, if you place your order by 11 a.m. online and purchase it online, we will be able to get a delivery to your doorstep that day. So we will have local delivery. We do have local delivery for the local Detroit area for raw feeders. So that is an option if you're local. Sorry, Beverly, I know you're not local. It's just a little bit more difficult to get raw frozen food shipped. And it's expensive. We have to ship overnight, which makes the price astronomical as well. So unfortunately, sometimes it's just not worth the shipping cost with how much product people purchase. So, All right, guys, I will see you probably beginning of next week with another video telling you more about raw and how to be rawsome. And again, if you have any questions, please put it in the comments below. We will circle back around. Myself or one of the staff members will circle back around, answer those questions. And it looks like Emily shared our video. Thank you very much. We really appreciate you sharing that. We get lots of referrals, so we're very grateful for that. And Beverly, I'm sure Lewis would love to deliver to Virginia, but I don't think he could do that in one day. So, all right, guys, have a great evening. Everyone stay safe this weekend, and we're here all weekend, normal business hours, Saturday from 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Sunday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. So everyone have a great night. Thank you.